Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Got Something For Ya. Today, Ollie, Phil, and myself are very honored to be joined by another Survivor castaway. We have TK from Survivor 47. TK, thank you so much for being here with us.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys having me. I'm excited.
We were talking a little bit before we went live, but you were basically talking about the difference between having your season premiering and then also having now a new season of Survivor premiering. Can you just let our audience know kind of what you were talking to us about in terms of like what it's like watching a new group of people play this game?
Yeah. I was telling Matt a little bit about my experience, and I haven't actually watched my full season of Survivor, which is always like a shocker to everybody. They're like, "Oh, you don't want to see it?" And I'm like, "It just hurts too much." You know what I mean? You start seeing everything that's going on, and you're like, I don't want to watch these people do this or do that if they had a part in getting me out the game. So it was a little bit stressful, but I got my fandom back watching 48. After meeting a couple of the cast members, they're like, TK, we need you to watch this season. We need you to be on here and watch it and lock in. So I've been doing it now, and I got my fandom back, and they're playing hard. They are actually putting on a show. So it's been exciting, man. It's good to see it. And they got that fire back in me now.
That's awesome. It's really good to know that you didn't lose your fandom, that you're still watching, and that you're here to talk with us. I mean, we feel so lucky.
For sure. Yeah, I'm excited, man. Excited.
And you not only get to speak with the three of us, but we also have some people in the live chat. And of course, our live chat is open if you happen to be catching us on YouTube right now. Roy, hello. Good to see you again. We have Jay who says, hello. Hey, TK is here. One of my faves from Survivor 47. And it may or may not have something to do with the two of you sharing a birthday. So that's
that's lit. That's lit. Hey, look at amazing Libra gang all day.
Well, why don't we jump right into today's episode where we got a lot that we need to talk about here. So, as we know, we just kind of came back from a really awesome tribal council where Kyle and Camilla were able to pull off a move. They were on the minority of their tribe and they were able to take out one of the California girls. And now it's all up in the air. I think the big question that I walked away from last episode was, would they be able to kind of keep up this ruse that they're not really working together?
Yeah, I'd say that one's a tough one. I was thinking the exact same thing. It's only 4 of them over there. So, I mean, at some point, you're going to be able to put these pieces together. But I think the way that Kyle and Camilla are playing it right now, I was just telling one of my friends, they're going to be a dynamic duo. If they make it to the merge and they're together, they're going to be able to do a lot of damage, and especially if they keep up this narrative that they're not that close. They can really manipulate a lot of groups and squeeze into a lot of cracks. And I think they're doing it the right way. So I'm a fan of them as a duo for sure.
Yeah, it's been really, really fun to watch these two. I mean, for one, I do think that they maybe have pulled off the most impressive move of the season thus far. And to watch them come back and keep up the charade, for me, it's actually a little bit surprising. Like, I did not think that they were going to continue the charade. I thought they were going to be like, all right, yep, we got you, but look, now we're together. Like, you know that we're close. But instead, they're like, okay, we're still not close, but the 4 of us, right? So, at least they're including everybody. I think that there is, I look forward to seeing what these 4 can do in the future, but definitely surprised with what they came back with.
Yeah, I think so too. And you know what really when they came back, I thought their cover was blown. And it wasn't really until Kyle said the brilliant thing of, oh, I played the idol because it looked like someone went through my bag, that I was like, Kyle, that was the perfect explanation to give as to why you played your idol. Oh, I loved it. It made me feel like they could do this.
Yeah, I will say that one got me a little bit because I did think Shaheen was going to put a little bit more pressure there. Because now my first thought would be like, I don't trust Camilla, because my first thought would be Camilla told him something. You know what I mean? Because they didn't ruffle that bag up enough. Like, as you see in the episode, he didn't take anything out the bag. I think he moved one pair of socks and everything else was just him kind of filling through the bag. So for me, that would have been a red flag for me if I'm like, wait, hold up. You could tell. I mean, I could have kicked that bag over and shuffled it the same amount as what he did by going in it. So I would have been like, wait a minute, something's not adding up here. But we'll see if they really believe that. But that one was a tough one. That was a tough one.
I'm
Yeah,
right there with you.
there's just a little bit more dirt. There's just a little bit more dirt on my clothing, than usual. And that's how I knew. I think that's funny. Jay says, it seems like Joe and Shaheen believe that Kyle and Camilla aren't really working together. I mean, Shaheen, I'm kind of like, is in this situation now as a player where I'm like, it's that situation of like, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. Where I hope Shaheen, for his game's sake, is able to work on his gullibility a little
Mhm.
bit.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. Then we kind of go right into our reward challenge. It's I think we save a lot of the time this episode for Eva. So I think that's really what we're building to, and we all know that's coming. But this was quite the reward challenge. I'm so not used to separate reward and immunity challenges on US Survivor. So when this came so early, I was like, what's gonna happen after this? But it was fun. It was a good challenge, and we end up getting this Matt chat at the end. TK, as someone who the edit made it seem like a Matt chat had a lot to do with you being voted out. Tell me about how do you approach these chats with Jeff and the other castaways?
Well, I'd say obviously we're talking about Say here and what she said here at the end. I would say this differs a bit from me because in my quote unquote blow up, there was no other tribes there.
Yeah.
So I waited to speak my mind when it was just our tribe, in which I've spoken to them about challenges and just on our camp. So it's the same stuff that we've been saying.
Yeah.
So I think it was a little bit different. There, obviously, we don't want to go too much into 47. There's a lot of other things that happened prior to that Matt situation that actually already had me out before that even happened. But I think I see a lot of myself in Say where I'm noticing that she has a hard time holding these things in. And I think my mind works the same way. It's like we're very direct, it's like if there's something that needs to be said, and I feel like there's something that's bothering me, I'm just gonna say it. I'm not gonna let it fester in here for a while. But I think some of these things she could have avoided. Like, why are you stressing out about how they're celebrating a victory? Like, who cares? Like, why are you even worried about that? Like, you should be thinking about what do I need to talk about when I get back to camp? Like, why are you worried about how loud they're screaming or whatever the case may be? Like, I don't know. I think that one was like, you could have held that one in. You know what I mean? And sometimes I think if you have a strong personality already, and then you're adding to it by, complaining about something as small as you're celebrating too loud next to me, you're just not doing yourself any favors in that situation.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I was really worried for Say. I love Say. I've been such a Say stan this entire season. And when I saw that, I was just like, because full well that every single tribe is now about to go and chat a lot of smack about Say. And personally, I didn't think they were that sore of a winner. I thought they were being very gracious. But that's just my personal opinion. So yeah, I just felt really bad for Say because I want her to do well, but I do feel like sometimes when she is that very direct and honest, which I don't think is a bad thing, but in Survivor sometimes not everyone needs to hear that. Sometimes we don't need this opinion.
And it's funny, TK, you talked about the fact that on your season you were like, look, I did this when it was just our tribe.
Yeah.
In this scenario specifically, I think that if Say did this with just her tribe, it would have gone over so much better because then everyone could commiserate. They could be like, yeah, screw these people. I can't believe she's talking like that. But when you do it in front of everybody, including the person that just talked, that's an issue. You know what I mean? And it's tough. It's tough because I do think that people are going to go into the merge, which we know is coming up this following episode, like with a thought on who Say is. And, I think that weirdly enough, from people that you are hoping to build something with, the best thing that you can have is a clean slate. Someone who has no beliefs of you, because that means that you can create them. But if someone's already thinking something of you, I mean, that's tough to turn over.
Yeah, it is. And look, I just want to throw this out here. The same way you guys watch the episodes and you count them and you're like, okay, we're on episode 4 or 5. I know a merge has to be coming soon. You're thinking the same thing when you're out there, right? It's like, all right, we're on day whatever. So this has to be coming eventually. So it is interesting to me that we all know that the merge is coming soon, right? Why say it now? Like, why do this now? You don't want to ruffle any feathers before you step into that. Like, Phil, you hit it right on the nose. Like, I'm going to be as quiet as kept as I can, you know, between, like, again, if it's your tribe who sees it, they know who you are anyway. They've been with you the whole time anyway. Who cares what they think at that point? But for all these other people you have that clean slate with, to have them thinking like, oh my God, Say is not going to be the person you want to work with. It's a little tough. And it seems like every person who's come across her so far has been like, her personality's been a bit strong, but she's still building connections. So I don't know if we can say she's doing it wrong or right yet. You know what I mean? She's still in the game. So who knows? Maybe she's doing it better than we've ever seen it. We just don't know yet.
You know, it's funny. I'm not worried about Say, but part of me is because just the way that it's a television show, the way it's edited makes me feel so strongly that she and Mary are going to have an opportunity to work together in the future. So that's just me watching television where I'm like, I don't know. I'm not too worried about Say, even though the edit is telling me to be worried about her. I mean, there's some great conversation happening in the chat about this moment. Jay believes, Ollie, here's the thing. You mentioned the word gracious in terms of the way that what tribe is Mary's on?
I wouldn't say all that.
Eva. Yeah, I wouldn't say gracious.
I wouldn't say all that.
But I don't think it was out of the norm though, in terms of like how you react to a reward challenge. But gracious is a step too far. But Jay thinks that Mary was in the wrong here because of the gloating and the other tribes were starving. Amy gives a reminder that Say wasn't even participating in this challenge here. Ollie, do you want to respond?
I don't think she was good. I don't know.
Can I say this?
Just be on my island. Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
It's really quick. Like, this is what I love about Say. Look at our chat.
Yeah.
Like, there is discussion. And this is what I've always said. Like, give me a Say who half the people love, half the people can't stand, versus giving me someone that I just, like, don't really even care about at all, you know? Yeah. Say creates conversation, and no pun intended, her name is literally Say, but you know, she creates conversation, and I am just like so thankful that she is on our screens this season, and I am so happy to both agree with her and in this case disagree with her choices, because it shows that she is like a whole true human player. Like she's exactly. Go ahead, Hazel. Say is hella entertaining. Period. Let's throw that up. Yeah,
I agree. Hazel, you've been throwing in some great chats, so thank you so much for those. Like, I love her outbursts are driving me crazy. Like, as a fan of Say, also, I'm like, me too. I'm like, Say, please. But at the same time,
the game.
It's so much fun because of that reason. So congratulations to. I'm sorry, what tribe is Mary on?
Siva. Laggy. Sorry.
Laggy. Okay.
I forget the tribes too, Matt. So I'm here with you on that.
Thank you. I'm just like, and now that there's a tribe swap, it's whatever. So
Laggy.
They win reward.
The sanctuary's back.
Yeah.
How about that? Woo!
Yes. Yes.
Ollie loves the sanctuary.
Where
he loves the sanctuary.
Supposedly good things happen.
Are you not a big fan of the sanctuary, Ollie? Why not? Why not? What is your
take on
it?
It's just, I think where I really loved the dynamic rewards, like, and obviously I can preference this by saying we don't go to so many locations now. I loved seeing all the different rewards, like going to a waterfall and like having a picnic under there, like going swimming with jellyfish. I was like, this is cool.
Yeah.
It's the same.
The problem, though, is that they are now filming in the same location that they've been. Yeah. They're sticking to one. So by the time they do all of these excursions, you know, we're going to see everything that island has to offer. So I get it. I wish that they would start doing what Australian Survivor does and doing those one at a time rewards.
Yeah.
Using that sanctuary as a set. So if you don't watch Australian Survivor, sometimes at a reward challenge, they will win a challenge and they all have to experience it one at a time. And usually that's because there is a clue or an advantage or something hidden in the food or something.
For people who have only watched US Survivor, I believe this happened on Heroes, Healers, Hustlers with the spaghetti.
It did, yes.
Yep.
It did one time.
See, U.S. Survivor watchers, we have our version, right?
We have our
Once.
versions. They can bring it back though. Wouldn't
They
that be
should
fun?
bring it back.
Yeah,
That was
don't
so
do that.
fun.
Yeah.
I remember watching, and you're like, "Who's going to find the clue? Who's going to get to the bottom of the thing?" And them sort of trying to hide it. I found that super fun.
Yeah.
Do we think they're not checking though? Because we haven't seen anybody even looking, and I think that you would add that in the edit to see someone like, okay, let me just see
That's
under
a
this
good
plate, or we're not seeing anybody checking for anything. So
No.
are people just not looking? Has this been there the whole time? We're just not looking right now. Like I don't know. I haven't seen anybody doing it.
We haven't seen it.
Do we think there is an advantage at this sanctuary that they just didn't find?
Possibly.
I don't know, man. I would hope there would be. I think that just adds a whole nother dynamic to the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I just find it weird that no one looks. No one looks. Like, not even a lift of a plate to see, like nothing. You know what I mean? Not like checking at the bottom of the bread basket. Nothing. None of that. I don't know. I find that a little weird.
Under the milk.
Yeah, under the middle. There's any left?
Ollie's gonna have a lot to say in this segment. By the way,
I know he is.
Okay.
You know
just
that.
to give you the heads up. Just to give you the heads up, Ollie is gonna take over the segment.
It's so funny to me that if they did want David to find some sort of an advantage, there would totally be something in the milk.
100%. Yes. If there was, I would be like, this is rigged for David. Speaking of, David finally got his milk. How about that?
I think I have a clip that Matthew, is there a photo of?
Yeah, there's a photo.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no. I know that couldn't have sat well in his stomach when he got there's just no way.
Disgusting about drinking whole milk after not eating that much for days.
Oh yeah.
No.
I'm not a milk guy in general, man. I don't even drink the milk at the end of my cereal bowl, man. I just toss that. So,
Yeah.
That's wicked. That's wicked.
I mean, look, if anyone has seen the deleted scenes of this week's episodes, the lovely David talks about milk, and there is a whole montage about his confessionals where he talks about milk for 1:40.
That's
it's
crazy.
Hilarious. Bless David. We do tolerate the man. TK for context, me and David have a lovely friendship.
Okay.
They are real life buddies.
Yeah, they have
He
their.
does not like my
badges.
humble trait.
In terms of Hazel said it best. Like I love this shot because everyone else is drinking. He's drinking milk. Amy says, "Thank goodness that they at least got better than one chicken to share with no utensils." Like the I know. And wasn't that the one where they were?
I
all
remember
muddy?
that.
Oh my god! I will tell you guys though, you stop caring about any of that stuff once you're out there. I mean, every meal you eat, your hands are dirty. Like you stop caring about all that. It was funny how quickly though, when you get back to regular life, how quickly you revert back to, okay, wait a minute, that touched this counter, I'm not eating that. Or like I went right back to the bougie nature. But when you're out there, I promise you guys, you're not worried about if you could have had 100 dirty hands in that chicken and I'm still gonna eat it at that point. Like you're
right, you're
so hungry. You're a little bit delirious. You're like, who cares, man? It's a little extra flavor on there now.
That makes sense.
See, these are the reasons I have yet to submit an application. It's that's the
we
thing.
We need you on there, Matt. We need you on there.
I gotta wash my hands in the sea.
You gotta be birthed into Survivor, Matt. Remember?
Birthing.
You'll be used to being dirty the first 5 minutes you're on the island. You're gonna get it. So you're
all right. Maybe I'll send in a tape now. Then we jump over and we get more about the aftermath of Say speaking on the mat and what this means. And Chrissy is having an issue because Say was eating some of the fruit that their tribe had collected, and this had bothered Chrissy because Say sat out of the challenge, and also Say had said that thing on the mat about being gracious with food. So
I find that one a little bit petty, man. I think they're both petty things.
Yeah.
I think what Say did was petty. She didn't need to say what she said at the end of that challenge. But I think what Chrissy's doing now, like, how dare you be the first person to grab a piece of fruit when we get back? It's like, what are we doing here, guys? Like, we're all struggling. Like, it's not that big of a deal,
But also, it Sorry, you go,
No,
Phil.
no, no. Go ahead, Ollie.
I was just going to say, from what the conversation sounded like, it sounded like they had their own designated amount of fruit as well, which is what I found funny as well. But also, there was the whole conversation about, well, I've participated in every single challenge, well, so have I. And I think what I actually kind of agree with Say here is she was kind of she was mentioning that it was tougher for her because she had been on the losing end of so many challenges that mentally she was a bit more down than Chrissy had been. So I kind of understood Say in this moment, because I was like, if I was in her situation and I'd lost like the first 3 rounds, I would want to sit out just to give my brain and body like a chance to decompress a bit.
Yeah, physically too, Ali. I mean, they had the worst camp out of all 3 camps. I mean, that was like a poverty camp. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like the camp was terrible. They weren't eating. You know, everybody else is eating. They have, they have fruit sectioned out for different people. Like they have all these different things. Like Say didn't have any of those things.
No.
So to an extent, I agree with Say, where it's like, yeah, I've done every challenge. I think she could have framed it differently. Maybe it's not about, hey, I've done every challenge. Maybe it's more like, hey, I lost every challenge.
Yeah.
And I need to bounce back a little bit. And I think this will be a perfect time to do it. I mean, this wasn't even an immunity challenge. So it's not like it was the most important thing in the world for her to be like participate in. So it's like, it's not like she decided to back out on like the most important challenge that they needed, So I just feel like it was a little petty there.
And also another thing, Chrissy chose to compete in every single challenge.
Exactly.
Say has had to compete in every single challenge. I think that's where the difference is as well. So I completely agree with you, TK.
And if we think about it this way, Say sat out of the reward challenge so that she can play in the immunity challenge. So I'm like, all right, let's get nutrition. Let's do it. Let's perform on the immunity challenge.
Yeah, Kiwi.
And would she have made that big of a difference, guys? Like, if we're really looking at this ultimately in that challenge, like, is Say swinging that pendulum either way? I don't think she is. So I just don't think it's that big of an issue. She decided to sit out of that challenge,
We saw how Cedric was doing.
Yeah. But guys, it does not take a lot to piss somebody off on that island. You're not eating, you're not sleeping, you're not properly hydrated. One little can be like, you know what? I'm done with this person. It doesn't even matter. I don't like the way you walked to get your water this morning. I don't like you anymore. Like, it can be the smallest little thing, So I also understand where Chrissy's coming from, where it's like, I'm just over you at this point. I can get that aspect too.
It seems like it becomes that mental, like, there's game strategy, but then there's also like, all right, the Survivor equivalent of like wringing the sponge out after you use it at the sink. Like, do you do all your chores? Then we have Mitch and Bianca kind of forming a connection. I forgot about this, but this actually really surprises me considering what happens at the end here.
Yeah. I'll let you guys tap in on this one, because Bianca's like, that's my dog. She's in the DMV as well. She's really cool. I just went the last episode. I was just at her watch party, and she's like one of the coolest people. So, this episode hurt my heart a little bit. So, but yeah, I think her and Mitch reaching out and them trying to work something out there, I thought that was going to be something that blossomed into something great, because I think Mitch is also a very underrated player. I think not a lot of people are looking at him as a real threat, but Mitch is one of those people that he can talk to anybody and no one's really taken aback by Mitch coming up to you and sparking conversation. So I think he's one of those inconspicuous players that he can really touch a lot of people without ever being noticed. So I thought that was going to be something that was going to be a good potential, operation that could have started happening, but it sucks that it didn't.
I mean, yeah, it was interesting to see Bianca in the middle here, like, and being able to ultimately connect with all 4 of these other tribe mates, but also be the person to go home. Like, it's honestly pretty weird to talk about, because, and it's weird to talk about because obviously at this slide, I don't want to bring up the big decision that sort of made her falter, but here I think it really does show that, like, everyone wanted to get Bianca on board because it seemed like that was the play. But later we learn, and we are always reminded of this, the play 1 second is the wrong play another. And all it takes is one extra bit of information. And Cedric was able to get it out of her. And after we realized, oh, wait, Bianca doesn't have a vote? Why is she running things? Why is she able to determine anything here? She doesn't have a vote. And so everything got flipped. And it's just so interesting to sort of see that, Mitch and her bonding here, because I think that we sort of got a scene with Bianca bonding with almost everyone on this tribe.
I know.
She was working.
It's wild. Like, it's literally wild.
And TK, I know she's in the DMV right now, but also like she's from Jersey. So I am like, I'm also kind of like, how do I?
Dang.
Yeah.
Right. Jersey.
But I thought Bianca was she was in a really good place.
In a great place.
But let's jump over to the tribe with the green buffs. And
Vula.
Thank you. Let's jump over to Vula and talk about, this was such a great moment. Like, I love this television. This, to me, like, I will take these conversations over Humble Traits any day. So I just really love seeing the four of them bond.
Yeah. And they have a lot of. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Al.
No, he was.
I was just like my humble trait. I was like, don't get your trait like that. You go, TK.
No, I thought it was cool. I think a lot of their backgrounds, especially from the parent perspective, was insanely similar to a lot of the things that they had to go through as far as what their parents went through and just what was kind of passed down to them as far as like what's hard work and what does adversity look like. And they can kind of compartmentalize like the difference between being on an island in Fiji with a bunch of cameras on you and like running around and playing games is not as hard as fighting in the military for, a country or doing these different things. So it was cool to see all of them kind of connect, because it was a situation where you look at these four people and say, maybe they don't have anything in common, but they had a lot in common. And I think to see them all kind of come together and say, you know what, we could be a four was cool to see. And I think if they do become a block, again, that's another dangerous group. We have this episode, we've seen a lot of dangerous potential groups forming. And I think this is another one that could be a dangerous group. And then again, Kyle and Camilla have a group within that group, so they're ultimately, they have all the power, right? Because they can decide like, hey, we want to step away from this four at any time. And they have the power to do so.
And just to sort of like, double down on the highlight here, like this is not a fickle connection. This feels like a deep, deep connection. They're telling the stories of their parents and for someone like me, I mean, I'm the child of an immigrant, and so that stuff hits home for me, where I always thought the same thing. I said, man, my dad grew up in Haiti. Like, what? I will never be able to experience certain things that he, experienced coming up and stories that he would tell me. And so I honestly think very similarly to people like Shaheen and Camilla who talk about, and Joe. I mean, obviously his was less a story of parents of an immigrant, but the fact that his parents, grew up during Jim Crow, like that is so tough. And to think about it and be like, dude, any of the adversity that I face is fractions and fragments compared to what they have gone through. And it really was super, super powerful. And just to like, look, like I get what you're saying, but I saw a chat that was like, oh, Kyle was left out. Kyle just sitting there listening, like there's power to even just being in the room listening. I didn't feel like Kyle was left out. I felt like, hey, Kyle is in this with them, and I think that this really is a strong four, and I am excited to see what happens here. I really am.
Don't underestimate the power of personal relationships and sharing those stories, because just to give context, like Kyle, Tiana, and myself on our season, we all created our alliance based off of telling our stories about our backgrounds and our parents and our situations, and Tiana's situation with like her dad and my situation with my dad, and Kyle, coming in foster care and all these different things. Like those conversations is what really brought that alliance together, where it's like, you know what? Yeah, why not? Like, why not us? Why can't we all just work together and do this? So I would not underestimate the power of that conversation that they just had, because there's a human element to this game that a lot of people they forget about sometimes, because you're just watching certain scenes and you're not seeing all the conversations. But this is one of those conversations I think is going to be important moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we have to remember they are on Vula. And if we know anything about Vula,
It's cursed.
it's cursed. They could be turning on each other in a matter of hours. So why don't we take a very quick break? And then when we come back, we'll talk about the immunity challenge and everything that follows.
Hi, Survivor Now podcast listeners. I am Katie from KT Designs, better known as Katie Tedesco Art on both Instagram and Etsy. I have been designing and selling Survivor products for over 7 years at my Etsy shop, including replicas like hidden immunity idols and Survivor trading cards with all of the players' stats on the back. I am so grateful for Survivor Now for giving me this shout out and helping me reach even more superfans. I love listening to their podcast. So if you are looking for some really unique reality TV products for yourself or to give a superfan in your life, come check out my Etsy shop at www.etsy.com/shop/KatieTedescoArt.com.
All right. Oh, Jay, I like your point here. Well, just as we transition into our next segment, that Vula 4, they got the flashback montage. So I like that you're looking at the edit to anticipate how far these players are going to make it into the game. All right, let's talk about what I think is the moment of the episode. Maybe the moment of like pre-merge, and we'll see, perhaps the moment of the season. We get this moment with Eva. It's a very stressful situation. Everyone on their tribe needs to maneuver this puzzle piece, as we all saw, and it gets really down to the wire. And we see Eva persevere and is able to win it for her tribe. But it's a very emotional moment, and we see that she experiences one of her episodes.
Yeah, that was that one was tough. Knowing her situation and her, having autism, I think honestly, she's playing great. You know what I mean? Like, I think she's doing a great job. We haven't seen too much strategy behind her yet, but I'm thinking she's doing an amazing job. And I think that moment in particular, I think is going to help her with her confidence, because it let her know, like, even when I'm having these episodes, I can still do the job, right? I can still get it done. So I think seeing her actually complete the challenge while actively going through the episode, I think was something that's going to give her a lot of confidence moving forward. And that was a powerful moment for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we have literally never seen anything like this in Survivor. No. This was, and I love that the show itself, Jeff himself knew that this was such a unique moment and broke form, right? The fact that he literally knew, hey, this is something bigger than the game. Like, forget the game. Let's break form here. We're going to allow Joe to crossover and comfort Eva in this way that we were able to see as the audience earlier in the show. Her share with him, hey, this is what I need in these moments. And despite everyone trying their best, there's 4 people around her trying their best to calm her down. Joe has the key. Yeah. Hey, squeeze my hands. Hey, please just stand close to me, hug me, squeeze me tight. Like, this was so powerful and awesome. Yeah. And to see Jeff cry, I did not find it performative at all.
Yeah.
And I think that anyone who does think that, it's like you're not looking at this the way that you should, in my opinion.
Yeah. JP does not do that.
Jeff Probst has been on the show for 25 years. If he wanted to put out performance art, he would have done that by now.
Yeah. I completely agree. I mean, we all know I am stone cold. I don't have emotions or feelings. My tiny little heart did feel something here. I saw the reality in the situation, because you see how these things can happen in real life, and to know that this is what people deal with, and to really take the human element into the game and showcase it in such a beautiful light, I think was really good. And it made people understand more about autism, because I think even in real life, people don't really know how these things work. And it was kind of a lesson. It was a human life lesson for a lot of people, which I kind of really do appreciate it. I completely agree. I don't think this was a cringy performative mess. I thought it was really lovely to see, and I think yes, it exposed Joe and Eva, but you kind of saw everyone go, this isn't game. This has gone above that. This is a human moment that just everyone needs to be here for and be there for them. Like,
Yeah.
I've dealt with panic attacks before, and seeing how that reacted, like that's why I kind of related to it a little bit, because I know how I react, and I know what I need to do in order to combat those. So to see this happen and to see it embraced so positively by not just the cast, but by most of the fans, shall we say, by the very humble fans, it was a beautiful moment for me.
I think TK, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it was an amazing moment, but the game is still happening. So as much as you want to say like, oh, we called timeout on this moment, let them have this moment, and we're not going to hold it against them. That's not true. Everybody now knows that they are very close to. And I would not be surprised at all if there's already conversations happening like, we need to make sure that they do not get to that merge together. Because if they do, that's going to be a problem. And if we get there, we're going to have to target one or the two of those, because we cannot have that. And that was as great of a moment as it was. And this was a legendary moment. I mean, we've never seen Jeff cry ever, or really show any type of emotion at all. It's one of those things where this is not going to be a forgettable moment. So like they're going to be tied to the hip, in Survivor lore forever now. So the tribes on that island right now are not going to forget that this happened. So just keep that in mind. I think this absolutely put a target on both of their backs, even though it was a wholesome moment that we all love. Players are going to play, and they're still playing. So they're going to keep that in mind and say, that's not a good look.
No, I completely agree with you there, TK. Yeah. Sorry, you go.
Yeah. I agree with you. The players are going to be playing immediately after, and you do have to go, oh my God, this is such an amazing moment. And then you have to sort of pivot and go, okay, but what are the game ramifications of this? And I think that there are ways to think about it, because I agree with you in one state of mind where it's like, yeah, dude, like blows up an alliance. It puts everything out in the open. It makes it tough to you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, especially after something this sort of noticeable by everybody, right? However, there are two ways to think about it, because there are also players like Star who at one point looked at Eva as someone who they would never ever work with. That both of them look at each other like that. In this moment here is the reason why Star said, hey, I have so much respect for you.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't believe what I just saw. I look up to you. Star seems genuinely so moved by this. And I think it really looked great on Star, because we haven't seen much of Star, period. And yes, it's this scene right here. I mean, Star was so passionate about like, wow, I have completely changed my view of you. I feel like I understand you better, And I think that is important, just to understand one another. That's what life's about, is being understood and understanding people. And I think that this was a something that helped her understand Eva. And so I do think that there's a good and a bad to this. And I think that is the good that you're saying. I mean, shoot. I mean, another conversation. Eva now has Star's idol. What is that about? But
what?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Because
no.
And I'm sorry, Matthew. I'm going to take your role here. I'm going to introduce this. This is insane. But at the same time, it's insane because there are so many ways to think about this. There are two schools of thought. And I would love to hear your thought process, TK. But I think it's pretty clear, right? Is this wild? Did you just give away the most powerful, token in the game? This is not it's used in 3, whatever. This is good until the final 5. Or is this, hey, this giant target, I'm handing this off to someone else that's not me. What's your thought, TK?
I think you just hit on both of those, both of the sides of that. Like, there's a good and a bad to everything, and you got to make that decision. Personally, I would not have given that idol up, right?
Okay.
I mean, I'm keeping my idol. Even if I got to play at that very next tribal, whatever it is, I'm keeping my idol, because ultimately, if you're looking long term, right, you got to build your resume, and you giving your idol to someone else is not helping you build your resume, especially if that person doesn't ultimately use that idol in something that's going to benefit you in the game. So you just gave out a big piece that you could have put down and said, I played this. Who's to say you have to play that idol on yourself? You could have built that relationship with Eva and said, if you get in a situation, I got you with my idol. And now that's your play. But now you took that entire opportunity out of your hands and you gave it to Eva. And now Eva has the opportunity. And now Eva just became one of the more popular players on that island from that moment. And now you give somebody who's whose market value just skyrocketed an idol on top of that. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, you just made her the most powerful person on the island. And I just think that's a tough play. If I'm Star, I'm keeping my idol, but I'm building a relationship with Eva. And I say, if I feel like you're in trouble or you feel like you're in trouble, I will use this for you. And at least have that conversation as like, that's why we're going to be locked in, because this is for us. That same conversation you see all the time. This is for us,
Yeah.
Even when I seen Eva say that at the end, I said, no, that's for you. It's for you.
If this were any other situation in terms of let's reimagine this as Star and Eva went on their own and found it together and whatever. And no one else knew that Star had this advantage, which, let's face it, everyone and Jeff and the Dream Teamers, everyone knows that Star has the Beware advantage at this point. Yeah. Then if that was the situation, I'd be like, no, Star, get that idol back. However, I'm aligned to agree with those of you in the chat. Timeless Crochet Wonders by G-Ann. Do you look at is that one of your crochet creations? That's awesome. I thought Star was going to give her idol to whoever opened it. She just wanted her vote back. I agree here. The real advantage is the vote here. To me personally, I've also seen, all right, we know, like, I feel like, yes, I'm playing from the couch. I feel like I have to preface this. I feel like I know exactly how Eva would play this idol. So there's that element too, in terms of who she'd be willing to play it for, and then who she is going to, when she might play it for herself. I feel like I'd be able to identify that. Let's see. Hot take, Jay. Star giving Eva the idol is a great move because it'll make her threat level even bigger after the emotional moment with Joe, and doing it in front of everyone. Yes, doing it in front of everyone, I think, was really great. Do you all know on Twitter? I'm sorry to jump to this real quick. Have you all seen Star updates?
Of course.
I love Star updates.
It's so good.
It's so great.
I was thinking, I know a lot of people were thinking, like, we got to get to that page after this moment, just to see what they were saying.
Just really quick, I've got a statement and a question. My statement here is, I think, like, the biggest sort of thing that I feel is getting missed in all this is that, which I think honestly is just a deeper argument that for what everyone is sort of already saying. This is a good move. This could be a good move for Star. Is that we are coming up on the merge.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is even more important. If this whole tribe knew that Star had an idol, and then you go into a merge, that information is not safe. Okay, that information is so wildly not safe, it's insane. Yeah. And so now, knowing that whatever information is going to be passed around is Eva's information, because that's the thing, information is currency. Walking into a merge, all you want to do is be giving people your money so that they trust you. And so to walk around and be like, hey, dude, I know that Eva has an idol. Like everyone's going to be tossing this around. It's great information to toss. Yeah. And so for Star to not hold on to this right before merge, I think works great for her. I have a question for you, TK. You mentioned,
Okay.
but this is also happening when, quote, also Eva is, you quoted, really popular right now. And I sort of wanted to know, what is the importance of popularity on Survivor? When you know that Jeff really likes this person, like, does that really make a difference? I'm curious. Hello? Did I cut out?
No, you're fine. I can hear you.
Bill,
I don't know
the
if
question
DK
was just so much to think about.
Right. That's what it
There's
is.
so
That's
much,
what it
yeah.
is. Oh no, my question froze TK.
Yeah. Oh, I
This
think
is the butt doctor situation all over again.
Yeah.
Back.
That's true. That's true.
Sorry,
Oh.
guys. I had got cut out of everything.
No
Sorry,
worries,
guys.
no
I had
worries.
got cut out of everything. So I didn't hear anything. And I came back in and all I heard was butt doctor. So I don't know what we're talking about. But everything was completely frozen. So, but
I got
I think
you.
we were talking a little bit about the idol. But yeah. But I
Yes.
just wanted to touch on one thing, Phil, because you made a good point. But there is something I want to touch on. There's also power with everybody knowing you have an idol, because that also adds a bit of pause before you vote for said person who has that idol, because you don't know when they're going to use it. So how many times have we seen seasons where somebody we've known had an idol lasted 2 or 3 tribals because people don't know if they're going to play it, because you don't want that to be the tribal that they play it and now your name's on there and everybody puts votes on this person. So believe it or not, everyone knowing you have an idol can actually be a positive if you use it the right way, because you just have to always have that threat of, this could be the tribal I decide to use it. Oh, you guys are making me a little uncomfortable. This might be the tribal I use it. And you still don't know who I'm going to use it on. So like, there's a lot of power in having it. So yes, the ability to have an idol kept secret is the ultimate power, right? If you can do that. But when everybody knows you have an idol, that's also a lot of power, because I know I can't touch this person. Or if do I want to be the one to take the risk to touch this person? Or we know that everybody else here doesn't have an idol. So why not just get one of these people out and we'll save that for later, right? So you always, as a player, now again, as fans, we watch this and we're thinking 10 steps ahead. Like, wait, no, but when you get to this, you're going to need this for this. But as a player, you're truly thinking, I just want to make it till tomorrow. And I just got to find a way to make it to the next day. And the best way to do that is to have people terrified to vote for you. Now, with the question you asked about her popularity on the island, I think that plays a really big role, because one, I think you have to look at it from a saving face perspective. You don't want to be the person who gets Eva out of this game now, because you know America loves Eva now, right? So you don't want to be the person who's like, I don't care about that. I'm getting Eva out of here. That's one aspect of this that's going to play a role. But also on the actual island itself, if she's building all these quality relationships, and I don't think she was initially. I think she had a really good quality relationship with Joe. I think she's building one now with Star. I still don't think that everybody has a big relationship with Eva. I think they just have this moment of, wow, you allowed us to know this really important thing about you that none of us knew, and you opened up to all of us. But if I'm on any one of those other tribes that's not Eva's, I don't feel any more special that she said that, because she didn't tell it to me. She told it to all of us, right? So does that make me say I don't want to vote for her now? No, not really. But I think maybe I'm a little bit more open to talking to her, because maybe when we thought she was being a little standoffish, maybe now we're thinking, oh, wait, no. She, we know that she has an issue reading social cues and different things like this. This could be the reason she's maybe so locked in on this one task and she's not like talking to anybody. Like, it's not that she's an asshole, because that's everybody's first mind. Like, that's the first thing they're going to go to when you're on the island. But no, she's not a bad person. It's just because she's locked in on this task and I can go talk to her and she's not going to be standoffish to me. I think all it did was allowed her to open up the gates for people to try to build a relationship with her. I don't think she has those relationships yet.
That's fair.
Well, all this being said, this isn't the tribe going to tribal council.
No.
Right.
There's a whole other tribe that needs to figure out who to vote off. And we have Bianca really in the middle here. And she doesn't have a vote, but the plan is, okay, she has Chrissy and Mitch who want to vote out Say, and then there's Cedric and Say who want to vote out Chrissy. So if they tie, then she's
safe.
She's safe. But then something happens that I'm kind of confused, where I think that Bianca got a taste of a plan that was better for her, which was that Chrissy tells her that Cedric is on board to vote Say. And what I think happens here is that she likes the outcome of that idea better, where she's more hidden.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It'll be 3 votes on it. That's straight up. You're gone. Nobody's
Safer.
worried about that missing vote. Yeah, it's an easier way to do it. Oh my God, Bianca, man, you should have kept that one in. She was doing so good. I mean, she told herself, and she said it in Tribal. She said, "I feel like you have 16 guts when you're out here." Like, yeah, you do have a feeling that tells you, don't do this, but then there's another feeling that's telling you, but what if you don't and you should have? So I mean, imagine if she told him this and it played out exactly how she wanted it to. Now we're all looking at Bianca like she's a genius, right?
Yep.
I mean, you have to take a risk. That was the risk she decided to take. And I think that Cedric specifically, and I was saying this, that early on watching Cedric play, I did not think he was going to be the type of player to take that information and be as cutthroat as he was and get Bianca out of there. I thought Cedric was going to be this, I'm a man of my word. I'm honest all the time. I'm straightforward with you. I'm not going to do any of these things. You tell me a secret, I'm keeping your secret. I'm thinking that was Ced's game, And then when it came to this moment, even though it was Bianca and that hurt my heart, I got a lot of respect for Cedric off of this play, because now I'm like, okay, he is a player. And his demeanor in itself, it's so calming. He has such a calming demeanor. It never really seems like he's scheming. But I think Cedric has a lot going on up here that we just don't really understand or know yet. So I think he's going to be a player too.
And let me tell you, he absolutely has a calming demeanor, and everyone is feeling comfortable with him, which is why he has everyone coming up to him trying to be his buddy. I don't think that which is so ironic, because outside of Say, I don't think that there is anyone who has expressed any sort of malintent for Cedric, yet Cedric is going out of his way to save the only person who has expressed any sort of malpractice. It's wild. It's really wild. And I think that that is his superpower. Not everyone can do that. I'm sorry, TK. I don't think that you could do that. I don't think that you could be out there and be super and I watch him. And I tried to do it. I'm the same. I'm like you, TK. I'm buzzy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I see him. They cut to him, and he's just stoic as ever. He holds that same face. It's almost just like a soft smile. And you're right. It's very it's wild to even get Say's confessional earlier in this episode, where she says, Cedric is a dog that you have to drag by the collar to walk with you. Essentially expressing which is wild, but she's essentially getting to the point that dude, Cedric doesn't have his own thoughts. Cedric doesn't have an original thought. He's never had one in his life. You have to take him and drag him to where he's going to go. And for him to have it be the same episode where he's like, hey, I'm going to do what I want is really, really interesting. Now, I'm excited to look at the frame of Tribal, because I want to know what you guys think actually happened here. Because I've heard a lot of different things, because they don't show us. And weirdly enough, I want to start with Ollie. Go ahead, Matthew.
What?
Weirdly enough, I want to start with Ollie. Go ahead, Matthew.
I don't know, Ollie. I want you to get in for something. I want you to be the first one to give your opinion for this.
I will say with Cedric, I actually think he is a very calm, chaotic player. Because
that's a great way to describe him.
If there's one way, I feel like in this situation, I look back to 2 Tribals ago, and it was you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Because funny enough, someone else didn't tell him about them losing a vote, and he had no issues with that. But then someone wants to build trust and show all this trust, and all of a sudden, nope, can't trust them. I was like, well, very confusing, Cedric, my man. The conversation was obviously intriguing, because I don't necessarily think we ever saw Chrissy and Cedric have this conversation. So it's wild to figure out how that occurred. It must have been such a last minute thing that cameras really didn't catch it. I'm
sure they caught it. I just think for story.
No. But Matthew, to make things more confusing, listen to the exit interview with Bianca. She says that this conversation between her and Cedric happened last minute, right before Tribal, in that there was not a moment after the conversation where she revealed it that Cedric would have had a chance to even talk to Chrissy. She saw every moment. She says, I watched him like a hawk from the moment that I told him till we went to Tribal. This is what I think happened. And it's weird because I am surprised that I have not heard this more. How often? I mean, look, I almost want to scroll up and grab the comments. Someone said it earlier. They said, look, if you want to get Eva out, you got to split the vote. I think that the conversation here, leading up to Tribal, no matter what was going to happen, was Cedric going, hey, in case Say has an idol, let's split the vote. 2 of us will be on Say. 1 of us will be on Bianca. Let's do guys on Say, women on Bianca. Me and Mitch will go Say. Chrissy, you go Bianca, right? And I think that what happened here was Cedric getting this information from Bianca on his own volition, switched his vote over to Bianca to make it 2 on Bianca. Because I don't think that they had a conversation about this after. And I think that this was Cedric's personal move. But I do think that it was set up to be a split. That's my thought.
That's a great point.
In case they had an idol. Because in that case, if they were going to completely pile on Say, I mean, they're not dumb players. If they were going to completely pile on Say and Say has an idol, so Say's 1 vote decides who goes home, they would never agree to that. So I believe that they were like, hey, let's split. Let's put 1 on Bianca because, she's the odd one out.
I mean, that does make the most sense.
Yeah.
So I think that's the most logical explanation. You know what? I give them credit for editing it in this way then. Because I was shocked. I mean, listen,
I'm shocked.
Hazel said that they were thinking that Say was going. I was, again, because of that whole Say Mary storyline, I was thinking more Chrissy, but I was still blindsided in the exact same way.
I was thinking Say.
The only hesitation I have is Chrissy's demeanor after the fact. Because I think we can go to the next. I don't know if you still have that next slide.
All she said was, there were only 4 votes in there.
Yeah. But it seemed like Chrissy didn't seem shocked. Like, Chrissy didn't seem shocked at all that somehow it went on to Bianca and stuff. She was very much like Cedric. She was calm, cool, collected. She was really stoic. And when she was speaking to Say, because you saw Mitch's reaction, you saw Say's reaction. If what you're saying, Phil, was correct, I personally, even though I can be quite calm and stuff and very stoic, I would still be shocked. I'd still be sat there like,
and I think that's to get to your point, Ollie. I think that is the one thing that makes me I will say that is the one thing that makes me question my explanation, because and by the way, Hazel, just to double down on what I was saying, said the same thing. That yes, Bianca said that she kept an eye on Ced, and that Ced never had a chance to tell anyone that she didn't have a vote. So that's what I'm saying. I really think that this was a pre-planned split, and that Ced flipped over. TK, what do you think, man?
No, I think these are all good theories. I think the irony of all of this, though, is that in Bianca's game, Ced was the swing vote to help her get her plan done the easiest way. And he ended up being the swing vote, but it was to get her out, which was terrible. So it's like, oh my gosh, like you got him to swing, he just swung the wrong way.
Wait,
but
TK, sorry, you said something earlier that I just want to double down on, which was you said that if this had worked, Bianca would have been seen as an ultimate genius move. And I think that was just such a great thing for people who are giving her such a hard time for this. If this worked, we would be saying a lot different.
Sorry, go ahead. She had a plan, dog. Like at the end of the day, like this is a game with human beings who are fickle at the end of the day. Like no one's sticking to their guns when you're out there. Like you're really the quickest conversation can change your entire plan in 2 minutes, right? So it's hard to gauge what's going to happen at Tribal. I can honestly tell you guys, you do not know what's going to happen at Tribal. You don't figure it out until it happens. You can have all these conversations where you think you know, but once you get there, you really don't know. So I think like from Bianca's perspective, in her mind, in her game, that was a good move, right?
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, you have to make the move for your specific game. You can't base it off of anyone else or what you think anyone else is going to do. This is based off of what I need to happen for my game. And had that happen the way she needed it to, she's in such a better position than what she's in now. Again, like she said, she has to do a little bit of damage control when she goes back. But ultimately, she's in a much better place than what she was in, right? So I don't know. I feel like it's just tough to kind of blame her for the move.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was a damned if you do, damned if you don't type of situation, because she's still in a tough spot if she didn't say anything. But with her saying it, I think she would have gave herself a little bit more power in that move.
Mm.
And then also, I think she, again, building the Survivor resume, that's a move that she can say, I had a full hand in what happened in this tribal.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that turned the game. So I think Bianca was a great player. I think she was playing her game and it just didn't work out her way. But that's the game of Survivor. It really is a crapshoot sometimes.
And listen, I'm actually curious to know, just while we're on this, people in the chat, let me know when she made the decision to tell Cedric. What was your initial reaction? Because to me, I was like, well, this could go either way. But you don't know. I feel like the majority of people didn't know that this was a bad move until the votes were read. So like, I feel like we have to give her the benefit of the doubt here. Ollie, you seem to have been like this was terrible.
No, I don't think it was terrible. I just would have been very worried because I actually wouldn't trust Cedric. Like I really wouldn't trust Cedric.
But you're seeing more though, Ollie. You're
I
seeing
know.
more than what she knows. She doesn't know.
Exactly.
That
No, that's what I mean. That's what I can sit here and be like, I'm sat here on the couch eating my popcorn, having a lovely time. But I also just, again, from what the viewers get shown, that's why I wouldn't trust Cedric. But again, that is just my very privileged opinion, not sitting on the couch.
Look, I think people in the chat are with you. Look, Roy says absolutely no. I screamed it. Gian says no, I didn't want her to. Jay said this was shocking. I immediately knew it was a bad move. I mean, I think you all need to be on Survivor because you have great.
And just to really quick, go ahead, PK.
Oh, sorry, Phil. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just really quick wanted to answer Jay's question. And Jay asked me a question and said, wait a sec. Chrissy said Bianca lost her vote in the journey. How'd she know? That was a public display. That was at the end of a challenge. Bianca said, hey, or that was when Bianca chose to go on the journey, chose the other two people to go along with her. And I think just them having a 4 here, I think that it was just pretty obvious that she's the one that lost her vote. She's the only one that had gone on a journey in this group, other than Mitch. Mitch came back, told him about his advantage. I think that she was pretty much the only plausible answer for someone who would have lost their vote. I think it was just logic.
Oh, we had a very fun. The tribe has posted. Oh, well, first, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's so sad.
I know. This broke my heart.
Oh my God.
We are gathered here today to witness the torch snuffing of Bianca. Ollie, I know that this one hits particularly hard.
This usually they don't look that sad in the frame. Oh my God, I'm having such a hard time.
Did we pick the saddest frame we could find, or is this just the frame that was available?
This was the frame that was available. This is
just very sad.
I will say I could have gone frame by frame, and I feel like it would have been worse because she was generally very sad.
Oh my God!
And also, I feel like we're beating a dead horse at this point, but I feel worse out of everyone for our poor girl Cara from Survivor Socials because Bianca was the last person in her draft.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I'm so sad. So I do feel like I won't feel as sad as maybe Cara, but I was definitely sad because I was rooting for Bianca. Like I thought I was so wanting to see like her and Thomas be like this sneaky little like duo. So I was very sad. So love you, Bianca, and her outfits are always a slay on social media.
Yes. But points to Kara because she, for those of you who don't know, we did lose access to our Instagram for a little bit of time, and Kara got it back for us. So that is an instant. Yes. Kara's winning all the drafts because of that reason. But Phil, I saw you had something to say.
I was just going to say, what was I going to say? To Jay's point, yeah, dude, poor Bianca, all because of a dumb dice roll, and like. Both her and Justin, I feel so poorly about that. Like, I do think that is a flaw.
I hate it. Yeah, it's so dumb to me. I hate the game of obviously Survivor has a lot of aspects that are up to
course.
chance, right? But when you're talking about advantages and people's votes, like that's the last thing I would want to be up to chance. Because it's like, all right, let me as a player at least give me some type of, say so and what happens to me. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
already so much in everyone else's hands. Like just doing something
Agreed.
like that, I just think it doesn't really highlight any type of skills or training anybody could have been doing. People train for this stuff.
Yeah.
They're doing puzzles for years to get on this thing. Like, give somebody a chance to show what they've been doing their whole life trying to get on here. And I just think it takes away a little bit of the player skill set in that situation, So I'm not a fan of the chance thing.
It's the element of choice. You just need that. Even there, when they did play the game of chance at tribal councils in like 41 and 42 or 42 and 43, where there was that game where like you can choose to play in the immunity challenge, but that if you lose it, you have to play this game of chance at tribal council. They knew that, like they knew the risks, and that's what made that okay to me. And it wasn't a vote, but yeah. So Bianca, good to see you. So I'm curious to see. I'm sorry, I don't know how to transition. She did great. I think we already gave her her flowers there. Ollie, I'm excited to see what the tribe has posted this week.
They haven't posted much. The end. No. So for anyone that does not know, I do a deep dive into everyone's social medias. Yes, TK, I did it last season. And we look at everything. We see all the drama, the juice, the gossip, everything that goes around. So the first slide is all to do with just the stuff that was happening beforehand. So we had a couple of things. We had a really cute moment from David, Thomas, and Kevin. They were at this Survivor event. And it is true, David, your dancing is more to be desired, but we love you regardless. And I really liked Thomas's one on the far right, where it was that promo where it was dramatic, and we were being told this was going to be so heartfelt, and Thomas reacts to, wow, everyone really hit my vote out hard. And they did. And then the middle one is just about, it's literally a guy rolling a ball through the thing, and Shaheen is like, makes more sense on Wednesday, which it did. He was teasing us a little bit. The next one is all about Eva. Let's do a slide all about Eva. The middle one is Eva's reel. If you haven't seen it on Instagram, go check it out. And it's where she talks about her autism and everything. It's a beautiful reel to see. And it's just everyone else, showing her some love. We've got a post from Kevin. We also have a post from Charity, which is so shady, and I love it. She literally just literally, Charity literally goes, well, you didn't trust me, you wanted me out, you don't want to work with women, but I love you, and I love this moment for you. For me, it was Charity's way of showing Eva love, and I think they know the dynamic now. If anyone has seen Charity's Instagram stories, she's the queen of passive aggressiveness in the best possible way. So we love Charity for it. So the next slide is one from Shaheen. It's just talking about the moment between the four of them at the Vula camp. Obviously, we have the lovely Mike Bloom, who we have had on the show before. Just Shaheen's talking about it, and it was a beautiful moment. Next up, we have some tribal moments. Not all heroes wear capes. And I found it really funny. It was them too, of all people. Bianca letting us know that all the hot people go out fifth. And then the one on the far right is from Justin. And it is obviously the play on the fact that I didn't tell Cedric about my idol. Pre-jury. Bianca, tell Cedric about her vote. Pre-jury. So yeah, and the caption is make it make sense. That is a bit of fun. Before anyone throws shade at Justin, that is a bit of fun. We know that I'm sure they've had a lovely time at Luigi's.
Luigi's.
I feel like this episode, there was from people, even though it was such a heartfelt moment, we had those heartfelt moments going towards Eva. I could have had a lot more of these funny moments from social media, but there is so much like little shade thrown to people, and it is hilarious. Next up, we have a couple of people just sending some love. It's the pre-jury. Thomas letting us know that they were chatting till the crows came, or the roosters were crowing, sorry. And then it's a lovely one from Stephanie on Instagram, and all of 5 of them have posted on this together, and it's just pics of the kind of 5 pre-jurors, which I thought were really lovely. You can tell that they have such a nice bond. And I said this last episode, the people this season compared to your season, TK, like the 48 people are posting, like social media is happening. And I feel like this season's pre-jury, we are seeing a lot more from them, and they are not afraid to have their says. I think your season definitely had people speak up, but
Yeah.
I mean, this season they are chatting like that. They're hooting and hollering. And then finally, we've got a couple of funny ones. This is Mary. We can't see it here. Mary is clapping back to a fan called Broccoli, and basically saying, "Don't make me turn you into salad." Mary and Say are the queen of clapbacks. And Say says, "Eats fruit. She's causing chaos. Let that be a joke, because you ain't seen nothing yet." And I'm very intrigued to what we have to see from Say moving forward. And Camilla from On Blue Sky says it best. "If you hate this episode, you lack empathy and need to take a step back and figure out why you suck at being a human." I would just like to say, Camilla, that is not just this episode. That is whenever people are mean in general. Which leads me to my final post, which is Say. Reminding you all to stop hiding behind your keyboards and being cornballs. And I love that she goes, "Stop attacking my classmates" as well. Like in general, I appreciate seeing her stick up for everyone. You can tell that the cast love each other. And this is a reminder to everyone: stop being dicks to people online. If you don't have anything nice to say, piss off. But that is it for the posts. I was going to refrain because these two know that I will pop off. But I do have some polls. So for anyone that does not know, we post polls on X at Survivor Now Pod, where we ask you guys the burning questions of the week, and we have the results. So are you all 3 ready to play along? This is Phil's favorite moment because Phil loves
This is my favorite. This is my favorite. I do like to
So the first poll is, were Laggy being sore losers at the reward? Yes, absolutely. Maybe, I'm not sure. Nope, they were gracious.
I want a 4th option that says no, but they were not gracious, you know?
Fair enough. So I'm going to go to Phil first. Phil?
Ooh, you know what? Okay, to Matt's point, I wish there was a little bit more, there's some more options here. But look, this is what makes trivia in these polls fun. You need to slot into one of these. And so if I have to slot into something, I'm so sorry. I have to go. Yes, absolute sore winners.
Matthew?
Maybe, I'm not sure.
TK?
Total moderator answer.
Now, again, this is just we're trying to figure out which one has the most votes, right?
Yes.
Oh, man.
You'll figure it out.
Yes. Okay, so
I'm leaning how you're leaning, Phil. But, I'm going to go nope, they were gracious. I'm just going to go nope, they were gracious.
We got to give one
there's
to
a little
each.
bit of pettiness.
I also think my answer was my vote. I think that nope, they were gracious might be top answer.
I think there's a level of petty too with fans. We want to be like, nah, they were fine.
Yeah, exactly.
I can reveal that 50% they were gracious. So Matthew and Phil, do you remember at the start of the episode when you said that saying they were gracious was a step too far that I wrote down?
Yeah, I still think that.
Because these options
50% agreed with me. So I love you fans. Thank you very much. I ain't alone on my island.
To me, gracious is like everyone did such a fabulous job during this challenge. I have to accept this reward.
That is not what was said, Ollie. To Matt's original point, I bet if there was an answer that said no, but also not gracious. I think that would be the top earner.
Agreed.
Well, I will say I did vet these questions with Matthew, and Matthew didn't say anything before then. So
It's
we're
true.
fine.
Wow. I'm
I'll
gonna
let you
sitting
flounder.
I was going to say, I'm sitting here on the QC chat.
So the next question was, what was your reaction to Eva's episode and everyone's reactions? We have 4 this time. Loved it, so inspiring. I cried for sure. It was okay, I guess. Didn't care at all. I'm going to go
Jesus.
to
The
Matthew
demons are
first.
coming out.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. This is Twitter. So like I feel like
Yeah.
I'm split between loved it, so inspiring, and it was okay, I guess, because I feel like it's Twitter, so it's going to be divided that way. I mean, listen, I didn't get to say that I found it to be a really nice moment. I found it to be very inspiring. I think that, you know, Eva said that thing about her parents being told that she wouldn't function independently growing up. And I think it's a great thing for parents to see. Here is this adult with autism who is living their life, doing their best. And I think that that's actually really inspiring for parents to see here who may have also been told similar things about their child. But I can also see, like, I do feel like that there are people who may be just like uncomfortable with emotions in general, who may walk away from this poll saying it was okay, I guess, because, you know, it is a lot of emotion in the episode, and that it is a good thing to see emotion. Some people may find it uncomfortable, so I'm torn between those two.
Okay, TK.
I just want to take a moment before we answer this one and just say, can we get a shout out to Joe as well? Like, I think we've talked about Eva a lot and how she reacted in that moment. And we didn't really do a lot of talking about how he came over to comfort her the way he did. And he did everything, you know, that she kind of told him to. So he was an active listener when she told him the issue she was having. And I think, honestly, the inspiring part about that is a lot of that's from Joe's perspective too, just how to treat people, right? How you treat people in general. So I think that was huge. So in my mind, I loved it from both perspectives. I do lean kind of with Matt, like if we're going off of what Twitter is going to say, it was okay, I guess. But my vote would be love it, so inspiring. But I think it's going to be that it was okay.
And just to add to your point, TK, what I also found surprising is we saw all this amazing moments from Joe. Joe didn't have a single confessional this episode.
Yes.
Even though I feel like we saw so much of
That
Joe, which
I
saw that.
Shame on you producers.
Yes. and I think like this is honestly a big like flip of the bird to all those people that are like, oh, 0 confessional episodes, this person can't win. Oh, this person's being purpled because they didn't get a confessional. You don't need to get confessionals to be seen, dude. Yeah. You really, really don't. And I think that Joe was such a powerful part of this episode. I mean, to be fair, he did get a flashback segment. So I guess he did get a little bit of extra love in the episode, but still, like, your journey is not your confessional count. No, you can add so much value without getting confessionals. That is huge.
Agreed.
And just real quick, I just want to throw up, because, you know, love when our guests get some shout outs. You got a big shout out in the chat, TK. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah? I didn't.
Thank you, TK. It made me love Joe even more than I already did. What woman wouldn't want him to comfort her like that? Yeah, a little.
Sure.
I mean,
Bill, I'm totally with you in the sense that, like, Ollie, I know you said that thing about, like, you know, shame on the producers and editors. Joe did not need one. He really didn't to make an impact on this episode. It was so well done. Phil, I totally agree with you there that you know, we didn't need an explanation of why he did the thing he did, because we just saw his character.
His face was everything. You see it all in his face. He got a lot of face time.
Yes.
And what you're saying, Matthew, is screw you, Ollie.
Yeah.
No, but I think just one more thing that I do want to point out too, and just again, just that the tiny little just like notes of love from the editors during that moment. I don't know if you guys realize this. They never cut away. When Joe went over and was holding her, they never cut to a reaction shot from someone, shot from another, and with love, you know they love doing that. So like that took a lot of restraint. That was a concerted effort to be like, hey, this is not about the game. This is not about these people reacting, looking side or even being touched. This is just about Eva and Joe. And just that small little editing just decision was so smart to me.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm going to give my answer. I think that it is either loved it, so inspiring, or I cried for sure. I do think that you have to land on something. So I'm going to go that for me, it was loved it, so inspiring. I think that the audience is going to go, I cried for sure. Matthew, land on something. Don't sit on the fence.
No, I'm
TK didn't sit on the fence either, Phil.
TK sat on the fence.
You're on the fence?
It is
Yeah,
split.
TK sat on the fence.
If I have to
thought I
use
said it
something,
was-
I'll go with so
He's
inspiring.
a guest
Oh,
in this
okay.
house.
Oh, okay,
He's a
sorry.
guest in this house.
Fine.
Matthew,
I'll
well,
go with
here
so
all the
inspiring,
time.
but you know where I stand.
Okay, there we go.
Well, I can confirm that it was a tie. 33% said
Oh.
love it, so inspiring. 33% said it was okay, I guess.
Wow. I should have
I-
let y'all. I
You
should
were
have let
right on
y'all
bubble.
sit. I should have let y'all.
I will openly admit, did I gaslight Phil a little bit there, being like, yeah, Phil, make the pick
Oh
something.
my-
Make the pick
You
one.
all
Yeah.
know what I said before Phil forced me to make a decision.
Look, he's a house dweller. He is in this house. TK can guest. TK can sit on the fence. Matthew, you've been squatted.
Well,
This doesn't
have the
surprise me
final
at all.
Last
Yeah.
question. Is this the last one?
yes.
right,
Who was the most unexpected group linking up this episode? Chrissy and
Ooh.
Cedric, Eva and Star, the Vula for others.
Let's go to rocks.
Gotta
Sorry,
start with TK.
Leanne put a funny comment in there.
Oh, that's a really funny.
Yeah.
That's a really funny comment. Starting with you, TK. What are your thoughts, my friend?
That's a tough one. I don't think it's Cedric and Chrissy. I'd lean towards Eva and Star because no one saw that happening. I don't know if anybody cares that happened though. So that's also one. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if that's like a big thing for fans, but the Vula 4 was also. Ooh, it's between that and Eva and Star. I'm gonna go to Vula 4. I'm gonna go to Vula 4. I'm gonna go with that.
Phil?
Something's telling me to go Eva and Star, but I'm gonna go to Vula 4.
Okay. You know, in a weird way, I completely disagree with you, TK.
Yeah?
Which is wild because we've been of the same mind this entire
Yeah.
episode, but
are
I
you
think
thinking?
that I think I'm leaning towards Chrissy and Cedric.
Yeah?
Because I think that was such a big end of episode reveal. I think it's
Yeah.
like almost the version of recency bias where it's like, oh, the last reveal of the episode was like, oh my god, Chrissy and Cedric. I'm gonna go Chrissy and Ced.
And Matthew?
See, I don't consider Eva and Star to have officially linked up. That's my only
Yeah.
issue. Is I
Ooh.
don't think that was a true coming together as a pair. So I'll
Not
go with
outside.
Chrissy and Cedric, but I feel like X is going to say Eva and Star.
Let's see.
Well, I feel so bad for Phil because he was so wrong on the last one. But no, you were right on this one. It was 41% Chrissy and Cedric.
Wow, what a
29%.
misdirect.
Oh, there we go. That was. I was like,
29%.
dang, he's about to eat me alive.
But no, those are all the polls this week. Just a reminder, guys, we will be posting more polls next week after the episode on Thursday. So keep an eye out for them.
I will be.
That's all of it then, Dev.
Well, I mean, I always love this segment. So thank you, Ollie, for putting this together, posting the polls. Thank
Okay.
you all for voting on X if you have voted. We also, we do have some stuff that goes on Instagram. Ollie, if you want to share about the pre-show, you have some things that are on Instagram too, if people are not on X.
Yeah, so for the pre-shows, which is always obviously an hour before the actual show airs, so at 7 p.m. Eastern, myself, Randy, Avery, and Tori will come together and we will have a lovely chat, make our predictions. And on Instagram at Survivor Now Podcast, we will post some polls on our Instagram story to make our predictions, who will be going home, which tribe do we think is going to lose, all of that good stuff. So make sure you keep an eye out. Normally around noon Eastern, we will put some polls up, and especially the who do you think is going home one, because Randy is keeping score for the fans, and currently I believe they are 2-1 with Bianca going this round. They actually got it right this round.
Wow, based on how surprised everyone was, that surprises me that
Yeah.
people got that. But
Yeah.
TK, because you were our guest, do you have a winner pick yet?
Oh my gosh. You know what? We haven't talked about him at all. I think he's playing a great game. We talked about him a little bit, but Kyle, man, Kyle is playing a really good game. He's not flying too high over the radar right now. He's building a lot of really good relationships. He's decent in challenges. I think that this guy can really be a player, and he's a social guy too. So I can't lean and say he's my winner guy right now, but I think he's one of my underrated. I think he's going to be a prominent player in this game.
It's a good choice.
Yeah.
That's a very strong answer. So I don't think anyone is going to disagree with that at this point. As always, thank you all so much for joining us. TK, thank you for spending your Saturday with Ollie, Phil, and myself.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Also, is it anything to plug? Anything you got going on?
Not really, man. I'm just kind of working, doing my thing. I'm back in my career, man. I work with athletes, so I'm gone all the time. So just right back into it. But it's fun to be back in this Survivor world. Thank you guys for pulling me back into this thing. And, I love the experience. It was a great time being on here with you guys. This was really fun, and I look forward to it. Hopefully we can do it again sometime.
You're welcome back anytime. All of you in the live chat are also welcome back anytime. Thank you all so much for joining us. And to all of you who participated for the very first time, we loved seeing you. And to our regular viewers, as always, just thank you for spending your Saturdays with us as well. With that, we are going to end our live stream recap for today. We will be back next week to talk about episode 6. But as always, there's so much happening at Survivor Now podcast that you can check out. But we will see you here. I got something for you next Saturday.